There's 3 new orphans growing strong at Northwest Track.
Railroad crossing improvements are on track.
And Tacoma Voices will be archived for future generations.
These stories and more on Tacoma Report.
Hi, I'm Laura Proctor.
And I'm Angie Foster. It's not often a water utility operates a hydroelectric generator. So did you know Tacoma Water operates a hydroelectric power plant at the Hood Street Reservoir just off South Tacoma Way? Well, they do. It's one of the ways that help keep rates down. But now it's time for some much needed maintenance. Mike Ziak explains.
Over the next few months, the Hood Street Reservoir hydroelectric power plant generator will be getting some much-needed restoration and maintenance. Tacoma Water operates the hydroelectric power plant at the Hood Street Reservoir just off South Tacoma Way. The generator was installed in 1990 and it produces power that's used for offsetting costs to fill the reservoir. The unit has operated reliably since it was installed, but because of deferred maintenance, several issues were found that needed to be addressed in order to bring the unit back to normal operating conditions.
So as early as May of 2022, we had an inspection performed by a company called Canyon Hydro, who later was hired to come out here and tear apart the device, bring it to their shop, and refurbish it so that it would be running as good as new.
The Hood Street Reservoir is essential to serving the customers in the Tide Flats area. So late January, the generator was hoisted out of the building, mounted to an awaiting flatbed trailer, and was sent south for repairs.
Ever since this system went into service back in 1990, Tacoma Power has maintained it and kept it running. They've just recently turned it over to Tacoma Water to maintain, which is why our management made the decision to put some money into the generator and go ahead and get it cleaned and refurbished so that it can run for another 32 years.
The generator is scheduled to return in April. The hydroelectric power plant is expected to run 24/7 with future downtime scheduled for routine maintenance and inspections. Reporting for Tacoma Report, I'm Mike Ziak.
The city's Public Works Department started pedestrian and rail infrastructure improvements at both the South 19th Street and 6th Avenue rail crossings. The first phase of this work includes fencing, adding new or relocating railroad gates, and new signals for vehicles and pedestrians. This work is going on now and is expected to wrap up by Friday, March 17th. The second phase of the project is scheduled to start in July. This work includes replacing pavement and roadway striping, upgrading curb ramps to meet ADA requirements, updating driveway entrances, and sidewalk installation. For more information on this project, including updated timelines, visit the city's website. The City of Tacoma's rental housing code is being updated. City staff is looking for renters, landlords, and property managers, as well as housing advocates to help inform how updates should be made. There are 3 ways to provide feedback. Take the survey at cityoftacoma.org/rental housing code. Attend an in-person meeting on March 23rd at the Tacoma Public Utilities Auditorium from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Or, if you can't make it in person, virtual informational meetings will be held on March 29th at noon and 5:30 p.m. for landlords and property managers, and on March 30th at 5:30 p.m. for tenants and housing advocates. For all meeting details and more information about the code, visit the webpage.
The Heritage Project Grant Program is intended to support public awareness and access to Tacoma's history. Applications are now being accepted. Monies are for projects relating to Tacoma history or Tacoma's cultural resources. For a listing of eligibility, general requirements, eligible projects, and funding details, visit their website at cityoftacoma.org/heritagegrant. Deadline for application submission is Friday, April 28th. After our break, I'll talk with an expert on stormwater permitting.
And later, 400-pound babies with appetites. We'll explain.
Stormwater is rain and snow melt that runs off hard surfaces like rooftop streets and parking lots. As this happens, it can pick up pollution like oil, pesticides, and trash. Regulatory compliance analyst Sarah Norberg is here to talk about how the city's stormwater management plan is committed to reducing the impacts of pollution in our local waterways. Sarah, welcome to our show today.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So can you tell us more, just to kick things off, why do we have a stormwater management plan?
So our stormwater management program plan is part of the city's stormwater permit. And that permit is issued by the Washington Department of Ecology, Washington State Department of Ecology. And what that permit does is it regulates the discharge of stormwater from Tacoma's municipal separated storm system to receiving waters. So those receiving waters, for example, could be like Wapato Lake or Swan Creek. And then things that eventually lead out into the Foss, Commencement Bay, and ultimately Puget Sound. And so that, this permit is designed to help improve water quality and protect those receiving waters from pollution.
And since stormwater is not treated and it flows, as you mentioned, into our local waterways and eventually ends up in the Puget Sound, how does this plan help prevent pollution from reaching our waterways?
That's a good question. So we do try to treat some of our stormwater. About 10% of it is treated, but it's not treated like our wastewater, and people don't realize it as much. So, when you flush your toilet or wash your hands in your house, that wastewater, travels down pipes from your house and flows down to a wastewater treatment plant. So stormwater is a separate system. So that water, it doesn't go to a big treatment facility. We do have small facilities that are all over the city that do help to treat some of that stormwater. And people don't really, they don't realize it all the time because it looks like it might just be a garden or a piece of art, or some of it's, underground storage tanks or a pond. So like along Pacific Avenue in downtown Tacoma, there's rain gardens with pieces of art in them. Or on like the University of Washington Tacoma campus, there's a water quality facility that incorporates old railroad tracks. So it's kept that part of history, but it's actually helping to treat stormwater. And so Tacoma is trying to increase its treatment of stormwater, but imagine trying to capture every drop of rain. It's pretty challenging. And so that's where the stormwater management program comes into play, is that it helps to prevent the amount of pollution left on the ground for stormwater pickup. And it does that through a bunch of different programs that it is required by that program and by the permit. And some of those programs are things like our street sweeping program. See the street sweepers come around. Those pick up a ton of pollution, whether it's leaves, cigarette butts, debris, everything. Also like our catch basin or storm drain cleaning. So we send out, we have a crew that goes out and cleans out those storm drains from all the sediment and trash that it might collect so that they can do their job properly, which also helps to prevent things like flooding and erosion. So, it's like we were required to have this program by the permit, but really our stormwater program goes above and beyond what's required by ecology. The city does this because they genuinely care and are committed to the health and safety of the public through better stormwater management practices.
So how can a viewer that may be unaware, or our listeners, how can they actually get involved and share their thoughts about this plan?
Well, this plan really is for the public to get involved with. We want people's input to help guide the work that we're doing so that we can better serve Tacoma. And so we're encouraging everyone, if they're willing to, go to the City of Tacoma Stormwater website. There will be a link to the Stormwater Management Work Plan there. Now, normally it's kind of a big, boring document, but we've worked really hard this year to try and make it into like an interactive website that you can go through, and you maybe, be a little bit more digestible, and you can see all the different aspects of the permit, and then see some of the things that we're doing. And throughout that document, that web document, there are links for you to comment, and that'll send us an email. And you say, hey, I want to know more about public education and outreach, or I want to know more about the street sweeping program. You can send that comment in, or suggestions of, I think you should do this here or focus on this part of the city. We'll receive those, and it helps us really inform the work that we do.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Sarah, thank you for all the work behind the scenes that you and your team are doing, and for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with us more about this stormwater management plan. And look forward to having you again back on this show later and get some updates from you.
Great, thank you very much.
Residents can find the draft permit plan and provide comments by visiting the city's Stormwater Management Program page. When we return, Moose on the Loose at Northwest Track. Stay with us.
Forever friends should always be welcomed as part of a family. And in this case, not one, but 3 forever friends weighing in at more than 360 pounds each now have a family at Metro Park's Tacoma Northwest Trek. These 3 moose calves, the male named Atlas and 2 females, Luna and Callisto, were rescued after being orphaned in Alaska. Even though they arrived at Northwest Trek in August 2022, they still have a lot of eating and growing to do to reach their adult weight of up to 1,200 pounds.
March is Women's History Month with the Tacoma Art Museum. Exhibitions by and for women are on view, along with month-long events and celebration. The museum also features online collections, the e-museum, and other fascinating information on women artists and their contributions. For more details on Women's History Month at the Tacoma Art Museum, log on to their website for hours, exhibits, and more to explore opportunities.
The Tacoma Public Library wants your voices of your Tacoma history to be heard. Over the next couple of years, the Tacoma Community Archive Center will partner with the community on oral histories and storytelling projects, focusing on creating a more inclusive Tacoma historical record.
So a big part of this whole Community Archive Center project is thinking about whose voice has been underrepresented in Tacoma's story, and then finding ways to partner with the community to preserve and provide access to those voices.
The goal of story sharing with the Community Archive Center is revealing, sharing, and preserving Tacoma history that was once excluded from past historical archives.
It just makes you feel good that you're part of history. I'm part of Tacoma, so my grandma could say this, my great grandma could say that she's left a mark through me. Learning my history, the city of Tacoma, you can't really tell it without some of my family being a part of it.
Along with oral recorded history, there will be opportunities of archiving photographs, documents, and other written artifacts that will all be part of the Tacoma Community Archive Center, which will add to the rich, inclusive historical record of the City of Destiny.
An April icon blossoms into all sorts of events during the 90th year of the Daffodil Festival. Throughout Pierce County, daffodil events shine yellow, including the annual Daffodil Festival Grand Floral Parade, the Daffodil Marine Parade, and the upcoming Junior Daffodil Parade on April 22nd, taking place in the heart of Tacoma's North End Proctor District. Check out the daffodilfestival.org website for what's happening.
The Scott Pearson Trail is a groomed trail snaking along Highway 16, ending at War Memorial Park. The trailhead leads to a unique Tacoma adventure for those willing to walk the Narrows Bridge for breathtaking views of the Sound. Dave Gordon explains the journey.
Running alongside Highway 16 from Tacoma to Gig Harbor is the Scott Pearson Trail. This urban trail features a critical point of interest unique to the region. It spans the link between Tacoma and Gig Harbor, and it's 187 feet above the Puget Sound.
This part of the Scott Pearson Trail, the new Tacoma Narrows Bridge, is about a mile of the most stunning views you'll ever see here in Tacoma.
To get there, park at War Memorial Park, just off 6th Avenue and Myers Street. Prepare yourself for a couple hours of moderate exercise. Just keep in mind it's 5,900 feet one way, and the return is another 5,900 feet. But the investment makes for a great walk on a fine sunny day.
I've been wanting to walk this bridge for a long time, but I've never taken the time. So this is my first opportunity to do it from being out of state, and we decided let's do it.
So I'm glad I got to bike across the bridge today and get some nice views.
My dad has been asking for a long time. We've walked the Golden Gate Bridge together a couple times, and actually with family too. So we decided we're going to walk the bridge today.
The bridge walk has no stops. Oh, and watch out for the occasional bicyclist. There are plenty of selfie photo opportunities too, so bring your camera.
Thanks again.
Just remember, you'll be sharing a major highway.
One of the biggest challenges you'll have here on the Scott Pearson Trail is the road noise. There's a lot of road noise, but that's part of the adventure. For Tacoma Report, I'm Dave Gordon.
That wraps up this edition of Tacoma Report.
A great way to find out about the services the City of Tacoma has to offer is by going to cityoftacoma.org.
I'm Angie Foster, and we leave you now with thundercloud plum trees in bloom at Wright Park.
These flowering trees are early bloomers, sometimes opening up in late winter. I'm Laura Proctor. Thanks for watching.